dream. Whoa. It'll be alright. Our bond is so strong we won't lose any fight. With a map that's laid out before us, possibilities are just endless. With every step we take, we're moving on.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Piece, episodes 934 to 937. And this is the final reaction of our One Piece week, number 3, and our final One Piece week. This is the final episodic reaction for this, and I'm a little sad that we're coming to the end of another One Piece week, and again, our final one. But at the same time, we're catching up so much with this, and we're going to catch up so much with just all of the other reactions we have coming in the coming weeks that, again, we're going to be caught up to the series in May. And it's like, it's wild to think we're this close. Because it feels like I've been reacting to this forever. And it's like, yeah, I know I had the first time I tried reacting to this, and then I dropped it again for a while. But then came back, and it just feels like it's been so long. We got through all of Whole Cake Island in these reactions. And now we're going through all of Wano, and it's like, geez. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what more this has in store for us. So last time we had a bunch of stuff happen as usual, but the big things, Luffy was trying to escape the prison with Boss Hyogoro, or just Hyo for short. But Queen ended up coming, and Luffy, while his cuffs were taken off, was fitted with a collar that would explode if he left the sumo ring. So now he has to fight, in not really a sumo fight though, but he has to fight all of these different people working for Queen in order to survive, basically. But the entire point of it is to wear Luffy out so that he just basically gives up and dies. It's like, it's just an endurance test that Luffy just has no reason to win in Queen's eyes. That it's not, there's no chance for Luffy to actually win in the end. So, but we know Luffy will somehow. We just don't know exactly what's going to happen to cause it. But we do know Big Mom and them are on the way, so maybe that'll help. It's weird to think about that, though, that Big Mom is actually kind of an unintentional ally at the moment. But we have other stuff going on. The girls had a little bathhouse moment. We got to see Sanji have a brief fight with Diaz Drake and Basil Hawkins. Not much happened before he escaped with the ladies. There was a happiness punch in there, though, so that's fun. And at the same time, Zoro is dealing with a lot of shit. He's trying to find his sword, or the person who stole his sword, finds him, gets into a fight with him, but then has to defend the still alive Komurasaki as well as Otoko from this killer Hitakiri Kamazo. That's it, Hitakiri Kamazo. From this killer Kamazo. And so he's basically having to fight off two enemies at once. Kamazo seems stronger and a lot crazier, though. But he's willing to fight to defend this, to defend these people who he doesn't even know, this woman and this child. And he only asked for anything in return after it was actually offered to him. And all he asked for was just, give me some food and sake. I'm good with that. I don't need money or anything. Just some food and some booze, basically. And it's like, and she's like, yeah, okay, fine. That's doable. So it's like, that's happening. And not much else is currently going on, from what we see, at least. It's mostly centering around those storylines at the moment. So I'm excited to see where this goes. We got 4 more episodes today to finish off One Piece week, number 3. And yeah, I hope you've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying getting to these episodes. So let's just get on with it. Let's just enjoy more One Piece. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I just realized, like, every other reaction for this One Piece week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, every other day, I'm using Hiyori for the thumbnail. And this wasn't necessarily intentional, it's just I feel like it's what I wanted to do for those thumbnails, for what we got throughout these episodes. And honestly, also because I just really like her character so far, and I just want to showcase her. I just feel like it makes sense here. But talking about these episodes, so once again, there's a lot that happened. Let's start with Ebisu Town. Again, we're gonna cover what happened in like just overall throughout each of the different characters and their different parts that they're going through, rather than episode by episode. So in Ebisu Town, our heroes are having to deal with Law now, having found out that his crew has been arrested. He wants to go save them. Of course he does. But it's a dangerous idea to do so. He gets into a fight with Shinobu, who says things that she really shouldn't have. And they just really go at each other, and it gets really tough. Law ends up storming away after she insinuated that they couldn't trust his crew. And so things kind of went south there. In the meantime, Toniyasu comes in and has a conversation with them, revealing that he knows who both Kinemon and Shinobu and them are. He knows who they are. And he refers to them with honorifics, kind of implying that he has some level of familiarity with him as well, or with them as well. My theory is that he was some kind of ally to them in the past, and that for whatever reason they don't recognize him, either both by name as well as his appearance. So he might have been maybe a little lower, like he wasn't like a higher up in their group or anything. He wasn't like any big samurai or anything. Either that, or he went by a different name back then, maybe. It's hard to say, but they don't know who he is at all. He ends up going around town, though, as we see, and just befriending everyone and just checking in on them and just trying to cheer people up. We find out he's also Toko's father, which it's like, honestly, I can see it. It makes sense. They both have just that infectious energy about them, even amongst the people of Ebisu Town. And they seem to love to make people happy. It seems to be definitely something they very much both love to do. So I can definitely see them being related. I just didn't expect it necessarily. While all this is going down, Zoro is recovering from his injuries, and we get the bombshell drop that she's Hiyori. That everything was just a disguise. She's been going under for a while. We don't know like the full details of that, like why she started going under this other name and this identity and whatnot. I assume it was just to kind of survive, but we don't know. Because we did find out that when she was younger, like I think she said like around 13, she got separated from the samurai who had been taking care of her during all of that time after her parents' death, and everyone else being sent into the future. So they got separated, and since like 13 years old, that means she'd been on her own just trying to survive, and I guess she just formed this identity. She might have been working for the tax man all that time, for all we know, that means. And if that's the case, if somehow she had gotten him to accept her as a worker back then, maybe that's why he helped fake her death. Because maybe he had grown attached to her to some degree. I don't know. It's just there's a lot of questions that all of this has raised. And I'm sure we'll get the answers eventually, but I'm really curious as to how this is all going to go down. But we also see a completely different side to Hiyori here. Now that she's acknowledging her true self and she's admitting this and just allowed to be herself amongst Toko, who she's very close with, has a sisterly bond with, and Zoro, who she now trusts just completely because of him saving her life and everything. She's allowed to be herself, and she's a lot more high spirited. She's a lot more like kind and friendly, and like before when she was in her other identity and everything, going under her other identity, she was a lot more cold, it seemed. She like the acts she was putting on for Orochi and all of them, it's like it was very clearly an act, and we saw the other side to her. The confident, strong, and just really impressive side of her. But here it's they go for a different route, and we get to see her more vulnerable side. We get to see her more passionate and caring side. Just her clear love for her brother. She wants to see him again after 20 years, even though she now knows that he was sent into the future and is technically still 8 years old. Um, which is still kind of weird, but even she admits that her older brother is 8 years old and she's 26. It's like it's a time travel bullshit, you know. But it's good getting to see this other side of her, because now we've seen that she is a multifaceted character. She has a lot of depth to her emotions and her just entire way of thinking. We get to see how this is affecting her even. Um, and it's really good to see. It's really good to see Oda continue to create all these characters who have a lot to them, a lot more than just like, oh, they're a one note gag, or they're just like this bad guy who's just a bad guy and just some kind of evil scummy dude. No. He's also creating just these characters who have a lot of depth, a lot of intrigue, a lot of, well, character to them. So yeah, all of that's going down, but the biggest thing is still with Luffy. So Luffy is still doing the sumo fight under Queen's orders at the prison camp. And he's still trying to get down the color of arms hockey kind of upgraded form, I guess you could say, where you can actually repel instead of just defend. And he's not getting it, like, pretty much at all. Until we find out that Old Man Hio, who we know already is former Yakuza boss, Hyogoro, we find out that he is a hockey master as well. But here in Wano, they actually call it something different, which makes sense. Different cultures, plus Wano is super, like, kept away from the rest of the world. They're super secluded and all, so it makes sense that it would go under a different name, which is Ryuo. He even displays the exact move that Luffy was trying to do by forcing away Alpaca Man without touching him. He repels him using his color of arms haki. And then he tries to train Luffy to do the same, but he's not getting it. It's not clicking for him yet. And it's getting Luffy frustrated. So and that's actually making it harder for him, according to Hio. But at night, it seems like they're just going to stop the fight, but Luffy and Hio have to remain in the ring because if they try to go out again, their collars will explode. So they're just trapped in there during the night while everyone else goes off to sleep, and they're surrounded by armed guards the whole time. Luffy takes them out easily, of course, but Raizo then comes in with help from Caribou. It's like, again, I still didn't expect Caribou to be here in the first place, but the fact that he's actually helping, he brings Raizo in, and Raizo and Boss Hio end up like recognizing each other, and they're starting to form a plan for escape and everything. So we're getting to that point where I think we're gonna finally like get out of the prison, and the fact that we got the new opening and everything kind of makes me think that as well. So I think we're going to be leaving the prison soon. I have no idea how Luffy's going to escape, though. I really don't. Because, again, he and Hio have the collars on, so they've got to somehow get those off. And they can't be forced off. So he's got to somehow get those off of both him and Hio, and then escape with everyone else. They've got to set the samurai in the cell free as well, and possibly a bunch of other people in the camp, in this camp, and the other camps surrounding them, who would help serve them in their purpose. It's like there's a lot that's gonna need to be done for that. I just don't know how they're gonna be able to do all that and stop Queen and everything as well. There's just, it's going to be a really tough mission. And it's clear it's going to happen, but it might not go entirely according to plan. So we'll just have to kind of see and hope for the best, really. We get to see a little bit of Kinemon and Dogstorm reunite again here, but not much comes from that at the moment. So that's just kind of like a minor thing, kind of just put in there. But they're definitely building up to a lot now. With the new opening and with kind of these plot points in this second act starting to come to a head, they're really starting to give these big revelations, and they're definitely reaching the point where Luffy is going to break out. And that's the big thing we've been waiting for. Because everything else happening around them, everything else happening elsewhere has just kind of been slowing down. Like there was the big fight with Zoro and the killer Kamazo, but even after that, it's like it's just been slowing down, and it's like just focusing more on revelations than anything, and that's fine. I like that, especially with the revelations we're getting. Finding out Toko is Tomoyasu's daughter, finding out that the Oiran is, I cannot think of her name for the life of me right now. Her old name, her fake name that she was using. I can't think of it. It's like Komatsuri, something like that. It's just escaping my mind. But we find out she's Hiyori. Like we find out all these big revelations. And again, I had guessed that she was Hiyori. It was obvious. And I mentioned it in the reaction, but I said that this is probably something the manga actually was better for, which is wild for me to say because I'm an anime only, and that goes for anything because I don't like manga as a medium. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't feel any emotions when reading manga, and I could go into an entire video about that, so I'm not gonna go into all the details here. But yeah, I've talked about this before, but it's like for me to actually mention that something would actually work better in the manga, that's a big deal. But seriously, because we saw that flashback before and saw Hiyori's hair color in that flashback, even if it was mostly and partially shadowed, it's like we did still see her hair color, and it's like it just made it too obvious. It was just too obvious, and they still played the reveal as if it was some big surprise too. So it's like it's a little weird because it's like in the manga, and it's probably just because it was adapted and everything. They played it like how the manga played it, of course. But In the manga, it's like everything's in black and white except for like the rare color pages, but I'm sure that was still in black and white, and it's like so that you didn't see Hiyori's hair color before. So you would have never guessed that it was the same person. There was no reason to. It was literally the hair color that is the only thing that clued me into that. So it's like the manga actually was probably better for that just because of lacking that color. If the flashback scenes with all of that were done in more in black and white, or it just didn't show Hiyori's hair color, then it would have been fine. It would have been great. But it did ruin that reveal for me, just because I was able to guess it solely from that. Um, but it doesn't hurt her character at all. I still love her character. I still enjoy everything we've been seeing from her. She's still super fucking pretty. Like seriously, she's really fucking pretty. um, and I just can't wait to see more of her. And I hope we see more of the confident side of her too. The I'm the daughter of a samurai side to her. Hell, maybe even see her learn to fight. That would be cool. Um, but at the end here, we see that Big Mom and that group, Otama, Chopper, Okiku, they're pretty much at the verge of reaching the prison. They're already in Udon, and they're on the verge of actually reaching the prison. So shit's gonna go down next time, I feel. Um, and I don't know if Big Mom's gonna regain her memory right away, like maybe when she sees Luffy, but we'll see. And they have the red bean soup at the moment, so that's definitely also building up to that as well, because that's what Big Mom wants, and that's what they promised her. So we'll have to see how that all goes. Um, it could both be good or bad, depending on how things happen. Um, but yeah, we're gonna have to see. Um, reactions will resume next week as normal on Tuesdays. But I do hope you enjoyed this final One Piece week on the channel. And I can't wait to get caught up. Once we get caught up with the series by May, it's just gonna be like smooth sailing, and we're gonna like episode by episode, week by week. It's gonna be sad to not do multiple episodes a week anymore, just to have to wait a lot longer. But I've always said I actually enjoy cliffhangers. I actually enjoy the wait because I think it makes it better overall. I believe that cliffhangers and that wait for the next episodes and all actually makes the impact of whatever it left off on better. So I'm all good with that. I'm really excited to see more. Um, but tell me in the comments below what you thought of these 4 episodes of One Piece, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.